Hi everyone. Hope all are doing well. And let's discuss our last topics. What we have learned. So we have learned about the driver manager. Okay. So the driver manager, which acts like an interface between the user and the drivers, right? As we have discussed earlier, and also it keeps track of the drivers that are available and handle the connections between the database and appropriate drivers, right? So the driver manager maintains a list of driver classes, or it is there is a one class which is available as a driver class, okay, that has a registered by them, like how we have to be called that driver manager class by using the driver manager dot register driver method, right? So all these things we have discussed, and we have discussed the statement. What is a statement? Statement is nothing but an interface, okay, that represents the static SQL statements which is executed against the database, right? And like what is the how to creating how we will create the statement, like creating a statement is nothing but how to create the statement. To create an statement object, we need the connection object, right? So what is the what type of connection object we require? As you can see, you can create the statement by using the create the statement method. Where it is, we have discussed all these things in the last topic, right? Yes. So we have to be use the create statement method for connecting the out class. Right. So what is the statement? Connection con is equal to driver manager dot get connection. And what are the three parameters? Database URL, username, and password. Okay. So these are the things that we have discussed. And so tell me this one thing, how for the for name method, what is the use of the for name method? Okay, for name. So why do we use this for name? Like suppose if you want to load the driver explicitly, then you have to be call the static which is static method, which is nothing but the for name method, and it comes from the java.lang package, right? Java.lang.class. So if you want to call this if method for name, then how you will write the statement, like class dot for name, which is nothing but the fully qualified driver. Okay, so class name and the package, which package it comes from? Java.lang.class name, or I can say like java.lang.string as well, right? Yes. So these are the topics that we have discussed, and today, and also we have seen executing the SQL queries in the notepad. So you can execute the SQL queries using the execute query method as well as execute update method, right? So what happened with the execute query method? So this method is nothing but the statement interface, right? And it returns the what it returns, a result set object. So this is the again important topic that which we are going to be discuss about the result set. Okay, so we have to be discussed today in detail about the result set object, and what it represents inside, what it represents the query. Okay, the string query, so it represent the query. So this one we have to be discussed in the, I'll give these few programs related to this one so you can understand it better. So first we will try to write this program in the notepad. In the last class we have seen how to execute the program and how to connect with our database, and how to run that and how to check that in our SQL whether how many rows are updated, how many rows get affected. That today we will try to write another program. uh, so to talk about this two important queries that which we have: execute update and execute queries. So executing the SQL updates, like for SQL statements that can be modified the data if we want to insert, update or delete. Okay, so you can use this execute update method for inserting and deleting the, or if you want to modify the data, then you have to be using which one? Yes, execute update method. And what it returns a integer value. Okay, and it returns, like if we are inserting or updating, then it will show like how many number of rows affected, what we have done, or this data is deleted. Okay, so that type of statement we can see in our SQL plus, right? And so the statement as executing the other SQL statements, which is nothing but the statement execute method that can be used for to execute the SQL statements. Right, it returns the Boolean value. So today we have to be discuss how does it work and what is the result set, and how we have to be get this result set statement and object. Today we have to be discussing this detail, right? And also I will show you the represent diagrammatical representation so you can understand it better, right? So these are the main topics that we are going to be discussed now. So first one is nothing but the, where we have written this here. Okay, so yesterday we have done this program, and today we have to be discuss the. So tell me, before going to be start our session, like what we are discussing, the selecting the data from the table. Okay, so we have to be concentrate, like in the table how we have to be select the data. Okay, so our aim is like how to select the data from the table, and what method we have to be used for select operations. For select operation, obviously we have to be use the execute query method, right? And if I want to insert, update, delete, then from the table. Okay, if I want to do the insert, update, delete from the table, so which one I have to be use? Execute update, update method, execute update method. So from our table the steps are pretty common, right? If I want to write the query or run the query or to establish the connection, then what we have to do, we have to be create the statement object, right? So writing the query, and first statement is for the JDBC program to write our code. What are the steps we have to be follow? First one is establishing the connection. Okay, first is establishing the connection, and the second one is create a statement object, and third one is execute the query. Okay, execute the query and process the result. So these are the steps to write the our JDBC application or program, right? So you can say this simply JDBC program as well. So what will change from one application to another application? Query will be changing, right? Yesterday we have done the insert program. Okay, yesterday we have done the insert program. Again it is okay. So, what we have done yesterday, we have done the insert program, and I asked you to like practice update and delete program also. If you haven't done, no problem. I'll just write the programs in the notepad once again. So we will see like how many rows it got affected. So we will write the separate program in the notepad again for your better understanding. So what is enough from as we have discussed. So what is enough to change from one application to another application? Query, right? So query, only the query will be changing from our Java application to the database. So which statement of the method that call to update the query and delete the query? Obviously execute update method. And what it returns? It returns an integer value. So what will change from one JDBC program to other JDBC program? Mostly there is only one thing, that query will change. Okay, so today like we have to be understand selecting the data from the table. So this is our main topic today, like, to understand selecting the data, selecting the data from a table, selecting the data from a table. Okay, so while selecting the data from the table, which method of the statement I need to call? Which which method of the statement I need to call for run and select the statement? Obviously, we have to be use the execute query method. Okay, so what it returns? It returns the result set object here. It returns the result set object, right? And what the result set object stores? What the results set object stores? It stores the data selected from the table. And when you write the select star from the emp table, and you will be getting some records, and like output, that will show output on your sql plus. Okay, the same output will come to the Java application once we establish the connection on that time, or when we execute the query, process the result, execute the query on that time. So we will be getting the output in a console, right? And where it will be stored? The result set object. So result set. So this result set object, where it will be stored? Query. Okay. So in this query it will show. So to make this understand, let me just go to the x calendar here. Okay, yes. Okay, so how now I am passing the query to the variable. So first, how to write the queries? Obviously with a string and query. So what is my query? I have to be right here. Suppose select start from emp table, right? So I'll write the query. Now I'm passing the query variable here. How will I do this? I will put it in the result set. Okay, result set, and the object I'm creating rs is equal to, here I will write the stmt dot execute query, and the object it returns query, right? Execute query method. What it returns? Query. Okay, and here, whenever the query will execute, so what will be getting? What we will be getting here? The data from the emp table, and what object it is? Result set object, right? So this is nothing but the result set object. Okay, whenever the query will execute, so we will be getting the all the table data, and it will be stored it in the result set object. So this result set object maintains a cursor. So let me explain this. Like for example, okay, so just assume this is my result set object. Okay, result set object, and results. So this is my result set object. Actually, what happens sometime, in our mind we have this like, gut feeling, like object looks like a circle. So let me, this is thicknesses. Okay, I guess this is fine. So our object looks like in the circle form, right? Yeah. So this is our object. In the object, that whatever the data has to be stored, that we will see. Okay, so it's looks like a circle. Our object looks like a circle. Just we are assuming. Okay, so I'm drawing. I have drawn this circle, and what will be stored in this circle? The data which selected from the table. Okay, if there is in this object, like what is my first columns, like whenever you will get the data from the table, so it will show the like rows and the columns, right? Like the column first row contains the here. So let me just do it. Control. Okay, so these are the rows, and how many columns we have in our EMP table? Like we have five columns, right? So these are the five columns that which we have. This enough, I guess. Okay, I don't want. So we have a five columns. What is the first one? EMP number and EMP name, salary, and date, hire date, and the last one is department number, DPT number, right? So it takes last one is DPT number we have. Okay, so these are our, just assume this is our table. Okay, so first row contains the EMP number, and second one is EMP name or E name. You can just mention this, salary, hire date, and department number. So you have something in the table, the columns. Okay, so I will type the column names here. So this is my first one is EMP, EMP number. Okay, so let me just move it. So we have to do it slowly, I guess. Okay, this is the EMP number, and here's the second one is nothing but the E name, and third one is nothing but the what we have. The third one, I guess, we have salary. Okay, and fourth column is date, date, and the department number. Finally, we have DEPT, DPT number. Okay, so these are the columns that which we have. Okay, so so all this data, which is nothing but the, this is called the result set object. So this is called what object? Result set object. So these are the rows selected from the tables, and these are the rows that which we have in our database table, EMP table. Okay, there may be a multiple records for our understanding. Uh, like I give three or four. That is enough. No need of writing all the records like 100 or 20 or 10. Okay, so this three or four is enough for our understanding. And there are some records that selected the table. Like for example, I'm adding like this, the data, which is nothing but so, and the first employee name is Scott, right? Scott, or I'm just assuming, so we can give any names, and the salary suppose 6,000, and higher date is something like we have, and department name number is 20. Okay, so this is my first column that which I have. Okay, from where we have to be get this data from the EMP table. Suppose this is the EMP table and I got this, and where it will be stored, it is nothing but the result set object. Okay, so which object the data is stored in the result set object? Actually, so this result set objects maintains a cursor. Okay, so where is that cursor pointing? Here, this is my cursor. Okay, where this cursor will point? Okay, this is enough. Okay, yes. So my cursor, where is my cursor is pointing just above the first record. I can say that this is a position of the cursor. Okay, so this maintains, so my table maintains the cursor, right? So what object I'm talking about finally? It's a result set object. So this is my object, this is entire thing is my object, result set object, and in the object, in the above the first row we have the cursor. Okay, so point where it is pointing in the first row, above the, just above the first row. Okay, so when the cursor is pointing by default just before the first chord, okay, if I want to read the data from the object, what should I do? I have to be move the cursor where the cursor is above the first record. Okay, now the cursor, now the cursor is moved to the first record and where it is initially. So I want to get this result. So my data is in the first record. Okay, so it is moved to the first record where it is initially above the first record, right? Just above the. Okay, well, okay. So it is just above the first record. Now it is moved when I want to get the first row data. So it is moved to the first record. Okay, to move the cursor to the next record, you have to be called the which method? We have to be called the next method. Okay, and the next method, it is very important, and the next method returns a boolean value. Okay, so next method is used to move the next record, and when the cursor is moved to the next record, if there is a record is available, then it returns a value. Okay, boolean value, which is nothing but true. If suppose if there is no records, okay, there is here, there is a no record, okay, and my cursor is moved to this one, I don't find the any data. So what my uh, what the value it will return, boolean value, it will return false, because there is no record available, the record is empty. My cursor moved to the next one, next row, there is no data, it is empty, so it will return the false. I hope you understood. Okay, like see where my cursor is initially in the beginning, just above the first record. Okay, where will be the cursor? Above the first record. So what I'm saying is, now we cannot say our cursor is in the heading column. Okay, so here is our cursor, no, we cannot say like that. So we can say like it is just above the row. That's the reason for understanding. I'm keeping my cursor in the middle of this first record, just above the first record. Okay, so we can understand it is not the heading, it is not pointing towards the heading. Okay, just above the first record. So below the heading column, okay, it is just below the heading column. Now the cursor is positioned here. So which method I have to call now? Next method. And how to call? Like what is my object name? My object name is, this is my circle, entire thing is object. So I can call this rs, right? So my, this is a object, and where this object stored, rs result set. Okay, so what's the method I have to be called then to move to the from first record here to first record? Next method, right? So how I will write rs dot next method. Okay, as per our diagram, where is my cursor moved? To the first record. What if it returns the what my first record is available, so what it will return? Obviously it will return the boolean value true. Now my cursor is in the first row. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to be read the data from the record. Now the record has how many columns? Like a record means a row. How many? 5. Okay, so this record has a 5 column. First row record is nothing but the row, and it has the 5 columns. Okay, so what is the value in the first column? Which is nothing but emp number. Okay, emp number. So what is the second one? What is the second one? Second column in the row? Employee name. Okay, and so employee name is string, right? And third column is third salary, sal. Okay, salary, so it is a double. And the fourth column is date, and fifth column is department number. So to get what we have to do, we have to get the data from column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and column 5 of the record. Okay, we have to call the get text methods for this one. Okay, so to get the text methods means, for example, if the column has an integer value, so we can call the get int method, because it is an integer value, so that's why we have to be called the get int. It provides the column index. Okay, it provides the column index. So you have to column index, so you have to be understand to anyone. uh, so index or column, index column is the name. Okay, any of this parameter to read or retrieve the value from column 1. So what is the column 1? Employee number. And how can I retrieve the value from the first column? Res dot get int of the column. Okay, my column is an index column. So column index is not the array index, so you have to be just concentrate here. Like column index is not the array index. So array index which starts from 0, and the column index starts with 1. Okay, so whenever you get a word like index, so don't assume it starts with 0. Okay, index starts with 0, but when you are working with an arrays or array list, then it times which starts with 0. But this is a column index, right? It is a database and it is a column index, so obviously it starts with 1. So what I need to write here? Rs here. So let me just write here so you can understand it better. How I have to be right here means, so just understand. So let me just put this circle name is, why it is okay. This is circle, so I can call it as a result set. Result set. This is my result set object. Rs object. Yes. So to go to the next methods, here, let me just make it here for your understanding. Okay, so this is my cursor, right? This is my cursor, and here I will write get x method. These get x methods, which are nothing but the what is get int. So my employee number is nothing but the first column, and so I have to be called the which method? Get int method. Get int method, right? Because it is an employee number, employee number, so which is nothing but the get int. And similarly here, what I have to be called? Get for the string em- employee name. Employee name is nothing but a string, so I have to be mentioned here string. And the date, for the date we have to be get date method. And For the double we have to be mentioned. For salary it is a double, right? So get double method. So like that we have to be etc. We have to be call the our x methods like this for our first columns. And when I want to move my cursor from first record to the second record, on that time what we have to do, we have to be use the r. This is my result set object. So it is moving to the next cursor or the next record. So on that time, what in this object, it is moving to the next record. So on that time what I have to be use here, here. So rs, okay, rs dot next method, rs dot next method here. Like this I will use rs dot next method. So what does it contains? rs dot next method, which is nothing but my cursor is moving to the next record. Earlier my cursor is here, just above the first record. Now it is moving to the first record, so my cursor will be here. So rs dot next method, if it wants to move to the next record, so on that time we have to be using rs dot next method. Rs means nothing but the data which is stored in my result set object. So that's why rs dot next method we have to be use, right? So here, so what I need to be write here, rs get int. So just understand here how I'm writing. Okay, here I will write like this, rs dot get int of 1. Okay, so rs dot get int of, or rs dot get int of 1. Okay, rs dot, it is a small, because object always represents with the small, right? But it's fine, like whatever uppercase or the lowercase you want to put it. So rs dot get int of 1, get get int of 1. So what it retrieves, it retrieves the employee number. So what is my first column in the row, which is nothing but the employee number, right? And suppose I want to print it on the console, then how to do it? Like I will be typing as a, I will be typing as a system dot out dot println. Okay, so how I will do it? Let me just write it here. So to make you understand, so I'm just thinking where to write it better for. Okay, so here, so how I will be writing system dot out dot println. So okay, instead of writing this everything, I will just put it. Okay, so how rs dot get int of 1. That is how we are writing. Okay, yes. Okay. So what is there? What is my first index column is? Otherwise, you can type the column name. What it is? My employee number is first one, first column. So I have already wrote here, and so which is nothing but the employee number. So here, like this, you have to be printed. System dot sop rs dot get int of either. So you can write like this, you either you have to be right here one, or you can just mention it, it is a string, right? emp number. So you have to be mention it in the double quotes. Why it is not moving? Yes, here emp number. Either you can write, you can mention it to one, or you can mention this as a emp number. And so column name, if you want to type the uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. Even though if you write sal small letters, that doesn't matter. So similarly, tell me like how to get the second value, how to print, what need to be done if I want to get the e name. Then I have to be right here system dot out dot println rs dot get string of 2. Okay, so system dot out dot println rs dot get string, as it is a emp name, right? So it would be a string value, string. Or you just write like this to here. I have to be close another bracket. Okay, so either you have to be right like this to mention the two, or you can just mention the emp name. So this is the thing. And so what is, or I can pass the e name, so it's like, but just remember, don't pass your name, like our own names we cannot be mentioned here. So whatever here it is in the column name, we have to be mentioned that, which is nothing but the emp name. Okay, so what's the column name there? E name, not emp number, that we have to be just understand. Either we can use the numerical value or the what is the column name. Okay, so it is like moving is little difficult, but no problem. So either we have to be use the name or the column names or number. Okay, so what is the next thing that we have here is, what's the why I'm calling this string, because it is a string value. Similarly, it gives the system dot out dot println. Okay, so system dot out dot println rs dot get double. Okay, so my salary is the third column, right? So salary double, here we have to be mention double. We can mention this 3 like this, or we can mention the, I clearly mentioned my column name is San, right? So don't take our names, or it, if the table has a column name, then as a salary, you cannot take again SALARY salary. Okay, if that is a SAL, then we have to be must and should take this SAL query, SAL only. So query also should contains the SAL. If you take the SALARY, then it won't give the whatever the result we are expecting. So will the query work number because of the column name is SAL? Then we can just mention the, yes, we can mention even 3, or we can just mention the SAL like this. And what is the fourth one? SOP RS dot get date, right? So date, what is the number it contains? 4, like this. You can mention it this. And when my cursor is in the first record only, my cursor, because this is my only the first record. First record means nothing but the first row. It is not moving. Yes, here my cursor did not move because I did not update it the second row. My cursor is still in the first record, and I am taking the first record values only. Okay, so I have the another column which is nothing but the SOP dot O dot P RS dot get. So department is nothing but the integer value. So how I will write int, get int of 5. Either you can write the DPT number or 5. So tell me, these are called which methods? Like get int, get string, get double. So all these called the get text methods here. Again it is. So these are nothing but the get text methods. And I am hoping that you have understood this one. Okay, so tell me how many records in this code retrieves? Only one record. As I said here, only one record, because we have only one record. And what I will do now, so tell me to move from one record to the second record. Which method I have to be used? I told you, right? Res dot next method. So to move to the one record to the another record, one row to the another row. On that time we have to be. This is our res object. So what we have to be use res dot next method. So this time where is my cursor is moved to the like it is in the first, and now it will move to the second row. If I have the data, then obviously it will move to the second row. So tell me how to retrieve again the same process. We have to be retrieve the same process, right? So same code. And now what about the third row? So here, let me just copy and paste. Okay, so this is my second row. Okay, this is my second row. If there are like 100 records, or if there are any 3 or 4 records, I'll write the code. But if there is, what if there is 100 records, and if there is 1,000 records, then uh, there is a concept that we have to be go to the loop. Okay, so looping is possible for this one. 3 or 4 we can write like this, rs dot next method. But if there is 100 records or 1,000 records, then it is better that using the loop. Okay, so we have to be go with the, we have loops, right? Which loop we have to be prefer, like while loop or for loop? So you might get the question like, can't I use the for loop for this one? When I'm writing a for loop, like what will happen when we go for the for loop? So do I need to be pass any initialization part or increment decrement part manually? So is it mandatory to write the initialization, increment or decrement part? No. And so tell me, you might get this doubt, why can't I use the for loop and for each loop? Okay, for each loop we can use only for the collections and arrays. We cannot use it here. So here it will works either for loop or while loop, right? So yes, we can write without the initialization, increment or decrement part. Okay, if you say it is a infinite loop, okay, you might get right. So I can make it a finite inside the loop. I can write the logic more than 10, then break it. Okay, so we will do the, you got it right. We will use the break keyword on that time. So, but we can also use the for loop if required. What is suggested to go with for loop or while loop? As if you know how many number of times to iterate to go with, then on the time we have to be use the for loop. And if you have no idea like how many number of records is there and how to iterate, how to on that time how to go with the iteration process, on that time we have to be use the while loop. If we don't know how many records are there, on that time we can use the while loop. If we know like how many records are there, at that time we can use the for loop. Okay, so here, now you have understood, right? For writing this, if it is a 1 or 2 records, then we can it is a simple for us to go with the things like rs dot next method. Okay, similarly, like we need to be write the code for all the rows until rs dot next method. So what it returns? It returns the boolean value. Okay, if there is a no record, so I have just mentioned the first record. Okay, so for your understanding, let me, as I have mentioned here, second record. So this is my first record values and this is my second record values. And let me just pass here some values. I'll just pass the values here, 7, and employee name is Miller, salary is some 7,000. Okay, and department number is something 10 or 20. Okay, so it is not coming, so let it be. So I have how many records? So my cursor is moved to the rs dot next int method to the next one, and same thing we have. So we got the records, and now my cursor is moving to the third record, which is nothing but the third row. In the third row, I have 2 records, so that's why my what did I say? Like rs dot next method, and it returns the boolean value. So it is nothing but the first record and second record. I got it. Now I don't have the third record. On the time, what happens? What it will record? Rs dot next method returns a false. Why false? Because I don't have anything in the third record. Okay. So similarly, this process will continue, and so I have just explained it, right? So if we know how many records are there, then it is better for us to go with the for loop. If we don't know, then it is the solution is use the loop to read the data from the records. So the suggestible loop is while loop. So because we don't know how many times to repeat the loop, so on that time, if you know like how many times it will repeat, then go for the for loop. If not, while loop is better. So what is the logic to write, which I explained? Like how you will write the logic, you have to be write the logic like this. Here only I'll write. Okay. So here while rs dot next int method. Okay, so next method first to move the record, we have to be write the next method and open the curly braces. Okay, so here what we have to do first is SOP statement, right? So it will move to my first column. So what is my first column? SOP rs dot get int of one. Rs dot get int of how much? One. One is nothing but the employee number, right? So it will like instead of writing this, it is not moving. Yes, instead of writing all this line, so I just want to be write it in the one column. So how will I do that? So rs dot get int method, here I'm giving the space. Okay, to move to the next column. So what is my next column? Which is nothing but my next column is rs dot get string of 2. So just I will copy paste. Okay, it's coming here. So here I just mentioned the 2 as a emp name, right? So that's why I have to be mentioned here string. And third one is nothing but salary. So the value would be get double salary only, right? Yes. So double, and the column number is 3, and the next one is column 4. Column 4 is nothing but date, hire date, employee hire date. So here I need to be write the date, get date, and column would be 4 here only. So here I don't have anything, only I have 5 columns. So which is nothing but the department number, which is again integer value. So I have wrote all these things. Okay, so this is the way that you have to be write it in the loop statement. Okay, so salary is double. Instead of writing the separate SOP, then I want to be print the complete record in one line. Okay, so for this one line, you have to be write it. And what is this? This is writing in the while loop. So I have closed this. Now you have understood, right? So here till here the points are clear. I'm hoping that. Okay. So now tell me here, like if we have uh, EMP table which contains the 100 records, or maybe 95 records, or maybe 10 records. Okay, on or maybe 0 records. So on that time, like you are not sure, right? you don't know about number of times to iterate on the time. So when you don't know, when you don't have any idea to iterate like how many times, then it is better to go with the while loop. So what is required to read, like which row the code is required for the first row and the code is for the second row. If you start doing this, then the number of code will get increased. Similarly, we need the code for all the rows until the res dot next, which returns the nothing but the boolean value, which returns the, okay, it's not moving, which returns the boolean value. If we don't have any records, then it returns the boolean value false. Okay, so now just tell me, like I have the five columns. Okay, there, but I have a doubt like whether it is there in the first column or the second column. Like I have no idea whether it is a string. So I'm just assuming this e name or salary. So it might be a string or double or integer. So I have no idea. Then we have the, which method we have to be used. There is one common method. Okay, common method is there, that is nothing but, okay, so we don't have any idea whether it is a string value or double value or integer value. Then on the time what we have a common method. What is that common method? It is nothing but the get string. So what's the common method? Like if it's number or double or string or integer, so whatever to display in the console, everything is string only, right? We don't know if it is an integer value, then no problem, you can just mention in get string, so you will get the value. If it is a double, then you can mention the string. Okay, in the console it will show if you mention the get string method, as it is a string only, right? So you will get the get string of one or get string of two column, get string of my double, my column three is double sal, right? On that time you don't know what to mention, so get string of three, get string of three, like this you have to be mentioned three, or you have to be mentioned get string of, okay, get string of 4. So 4 is, what is the value? Higher date, right? So again it comes under the string value. So like this you have to be mentioned when you are not sure the columns which data type it is. And so let me just mention a note here. Okay, here I will write. So we can use, okay, also we can also use the get string method. Use get get string method as a common method, as a common method to read the data from any type of the columns. Read the data from any type of column, any type of column, right? So if you are surely know like it's a int, then you can write. If you exactly know, like if it is a string method, then you can go ahead and mention get string method of 4 or get string method 2, like that you can mention. If you are not sure, then you can use this get string method. So you can practice this code in the last class, like what we have executed the insert query, right, in the notepad. So I'll just give the two more programs like this, and you can go through that. So we will see in the next class. Thank you all.